Well, hello and welcome for this week and the week after. So that's 2 Wednesdays of thought for the day. We're looking at aspects of faith through the poetry of Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy, most people who know him through his novels, his famous novels, Mayor of Casterbridge, Under the Greenwood Tree, Far from the Madding Crowd. A lot of them have been filmed and we've seen them on television, so we're fairly familiar with the atmosphere, which is often rather doom-laden and fatalistic. A lot of people know Thomas Hardy's poem The Oxen because it's often used at Christmas, so we won't be talking about it in May and June. But this poem does reflect how most people see his faith. They see him not as a believer, he wouldn't have described himself as that, but rather a disappointed agnostic, somebody who wished he could believe, but didn't. He led a very complex life. He had disappointments. He was an incredibly gifted writer and recognised writer, but nevertheless had a life full of sadnesses and disappointments. The death of his wife affected him profoundly and influenced an extreme sense of melancholy through much of particularly his poetic writing, after he died. So we're talking about something that perhaps some of us can relate to, a sense of enduring loss and lack of sense of place, combined with a genuine sense of doubt and faith. It's a very human reaction. It's revealed by an ambiguity in his poems. So as we look at this first poem, let's travel together into the depths of a 19th, early 20th century Dorset winter, such as Hardy would have known. In the poem, everything seems sharp, jagged, dead, barren. It's a landscape without signs of life, for the most part, and very barren. He talks about the jagged rocks looming out of the gloom of twilight. He speaks of himself as being a traveller, one on a journey. It may be short or long. It may be a way of talking about the journey of life. A traveller alone in a winter landscape, on a winter road at dusk. And then comes a sign of hope. I think God gives us signs of hope, and they can simply be signs which God, in His grace, helps us to develop into something bigger and larger and more wonderful. But then there are signs of hope. And one particular sign of hope in this poem is the sign of a thrush that begins to sing in the twilight. Now, this thrush is described as variously singing an evensong. There's a real element that it's a sense of praise. And also caroling, another element of a sense of praise. These are religious images. These are an idea of hope almost against hope, of hoping in things that are yet unseen. Let's listen to a passage from Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 8, and beginning at verse 18. I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing to the glory about to be revealed to us. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the children of God. For the creation was subject to futility, not of its own will, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay, and will obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labour pains until now. And not only the creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly while we wait for adoption, the redemption of our bodies. For in hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope, for who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it in patience. And in the poem, the hope is brought through the amazing song of hope embodied in that solitary thrush in the gathering gloom on a winter's day, carolling an evensong almost against hope. Let's listen to the poem. I leant upon a coppice gate when frost was spectre grey and winter's dregs made desolate the weakening eye of day. The tangled bine stems scored the sky like strings of broken lyres, and all mankind that haunted nigh had sought their household fires. The land's sharp features seemed to be the century's corpse outlent, his crypt the cloudy canopy, the wind his death lament. The ancient pulse of germ and birth was shrunken, hard and dry, and every spirit upon earth seemed fervorless as I. At once a voice arose among the bleak twigs overhead, in a full-hearted evensong of joy illimited. An aged thrush, frail, gaunt, and small in blast-beruffled plume, had chosen thus to fling his song upon the growing gloom. So little cause for carolings of such ecstatic sound was written on terrestrial things, afar or nigh around, that I could think there trembled through his happy good night air some blessed hope whereof he knew, and I was unaware.